Is Detroit making a comeback? Are they facing a mass exodus? Here's something that news headlines aren't telling you. Since 1957, Detroit, Michigan's population has been on the decline, coming from a population of 2 million people in 1950 to now inching its way up to just over 633,000 in 2024. The question is, why? And why did there need to be a lawsuit for this to happen? According to recent US Census data, Detroit, Michigan now ranks 26th most populous city in the United States, up 3 spots from 29th in 2023. For over the last 6 decades, Detroit has been on the decline, earning media headlines of people leaving the metro area in droves and the city facing a mass exodus. It wasn't until 2021 when Mayor Mike Duggan challenged the US Census federal agency several times by suing the agency for falsifying the actual numbers of Detroit's population. And according to Detroit Free Press, Duggan refers to the agency as a national clown show. But after constant battles, the city of Detroit got what it has been waiting decades for after implementing new developments and focusing on the comeback of the city with every decision they make. And now Detroit has slid its way into the growing city category. So how did the US Census Bureau mess this up? Well, since the city of Detroit has taken the initiative to rebuild, they based the data on all the demolition of the buildings and assumed that it would be knocking the population. So essentially penalizing Detroit for the demolition it's been doing. The reality is they demolished buildings that were unoccupied, uninhabitable, and they were really sitting for years and years before anyone even thought to touch them. With that in mind and digging more into these details, the city estimates that with each demolished structure, the US Census Bureau subtracted 2 people from the overall population estimate, which is insane. When the city challenged the 2021 and 2022 population estimates, the agency responded that their data comes from a third-party data program that uses administrative data to create these estimates, according to one of the Census Bureau's spokespeople. For countless years, Detroit was the leader in this massive population decline in Michigan. And finally, in 2023, Detroit led Michigan in population gain, which is pretty cool. Is Michigan's population dropping? Is the state facing a mass exodus like the headlines say? The reality is, the state of Michigan's population grew by 3,980 people, which was up 0.04% from 2022, coming in at a whopping 10,037,261 Michiganders, but still remains lower than during the pandemic. Kurt Metzger, who is the founder of Data Driven Detroit, predicts that Detroit's population has been increasing for years, but they cautiously get dinged for the demolition. He's thinking the population is 30 to 50,000 more people than the census gives the city credit for. Despite the NFL draft setting records for the most people in attendance when it was held in Detroit, Mayor Mike Duggan says the news about the population increase is even bigger news for the city, as headlines will not be able to negatively impact the population when it comes to Detroit, but they will try it regardless, I'm sure. The next fight for the city of Detroit is to tackle the county gap rule, which determines numbers based on the population estimates for all the towns and cities within a county by stating it cannot exceed the county's population estimate, even though the city of Detroit's population is growing. So this cap is punishing the city of Detroit by reducing the city's population, not because there's actually been a decrease, but because there's been a population decrease in Wayne County as a whole, or even because the agency can't estimate that population right either. So why is this population growth such a big deal? Well, as I said, there have been billion-dollar rehabs and developments that have been going on in the city for quite some time, and the city has felt like they've never actually received credit for the rehab they've been doing. Detroit is becoming more and more of a vibrant and growing city once again. You can throw a rock somewhere in Detroit and you'd probably hit somebody on a ladder renovating a house or working on a development or doing something to spruce up the city of Detroit. I'm glad to hear the city of Detroit is finally getting the recognition it deserves after decades of throwing countless billions of dollars into the city that didn't matter to the public eye because the media and agencies skewed their data that ended up creating a worse reputation for the city in the long run. I have had several people relocating from every corner of the globe asking me about Detroit and coming into town to purchase a home nearby, rent an apartment in the heart of the city, and lean into everything this city is working so hard to create. For those of you watching or that have seen the headlines about this recent news, did it surprise you? Why or why not? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're looking to buy, sell, invest in the beautiful state of Michigan, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to be your go-to resource. Until next time.